They can be beat. They can be beat today. So the bottom line is, find out who you are from the inside out. And when this game is done, make sure you give everything you got for the man beside you. Let's do what we do best on 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Week 11 saw Peyton Manning and his 9-0 Colts return to Charm City to face Ray Lewis and the 5-4 Ravens. With 6 straight wins over Baltimore, Indy looks to go 10-0 for the second time in franchise history, while the Ravens need a big win to propel themselves towards the playoffs. Who will be the best in this AFC showdown? Let's go to M&T Bank Stadium for the call here on NFL Replay.
Your assignment is to kick their ass.
Let's go.
Peyton Manning, his numbers, outstanding. 20 touchdown passes. Manning completing about 7 of every 10 passes he throws and closing in on yet another 3,000-yard season. He has been simply superb. The Colts unbeaten this season. The Ravens trying to put a stop to that here today. Manning will throw it. And he'll throw it deep down the middle, incomplete. Double coverage on number 85, Pierre Garçon. The line protecting Manning. Johnson, Lilja, Jeff Saturday, first-year man Kyle DeVan, and Ryan Dean. Reggie Wayne leads the receiver corps with 8 touchdown catches. Running back Joseph Adai has rushed for 6 and caught another 3 for touchdown.
How many times do you have to tell a team from the booth, you know, you got to try to stretch the defense? Well, we can put that away. Manning got that out of the way on the very first play.
On second down, the give is to Adai, turning the corner on the left side, but not for very much. Maybe a yard as we look at the Raven defense. The front 3 gets Haloti Ngata back. He has missed the last 2 games with a bad ankle. Linebackers are missing 3-time Pro Bowler Terrell Suggs, who misses his first game ever with a knee injury. Rookie Paul Kruger replaces him. And the secondary hoping to give Manning a tough day. DeLon Landry, 3 picks and a touchdown. Ed Reed, 2 interceptions and a TD as Manning looks at 3rd and 9. Indianapolis, the best in the NFL on 3rd down. Sideline. That's complete. And across the 25 out to about the 30 is Reggie Wayne.
And Ray Lewis comes in on a blitz and he drops Peyton Manning, but Peyton stands there, knows it's coming, and he delivers it at the last second. Here comes Lewis up the middle. Down Peyton goes. He never sees the completion. He couldn't step into it, but look at the quality of the throw that he drops right in on Reggie Wayne.
2nd and 11. Pump fake. Manning deep, has his man, got him inside the 40. Pierre Garçon inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Indianapolis.
The master manipulator, Peyton Manning. He turns his shoulders, he pumps, he swivels his hips. He does more things to influence a secondary than any quarterback in football, and that's exactly what he did right there. Fabian Washington is number 31. The pump fake by Manning, he's looking in the backfield. If he had safety help from Ed Reed, it's way too late to be a factor.
Coach Harbaugh told us, if we don't let him throw the ball over our heads, we'll be tough. Didn't stop him there. 1st and goal. Adai. So maybe the 3.
You can yell all you want, folks. He could care less.
Manning throwing, corner end zone. Oh, pulled in beautifully by Dallas Clark for the touchdown.
And with that reception, Dallas Clark passes the great John Mackey for the most receptions ever by a Colts tight end.
To break the record, you know, it's just a tremendous honor. I can't. That's about the best way to explain it. It's just everything that Mackey's done for position, and I mean, he revolutionized the position and kind of made, you know, kind of players like me and the other kind of receiving type tight ends that, you know, give us a job.
Manning takes the snap, drops, sets, looks, throws the out route, wide open, Dallas Clark. Let's see, did he catch it?
I did.
Touchdown, yes!
Clark's record-breaking catch has the Colts up 7-0.
Unbelievable one hand.
More from Baltimore when NFL Replay returns.
Ladarius Webb, a couple of yards deep in the end zone for Baltimore. To the 20. Lost the ball. Covered by the Colts.
Well, this is going to be a real question when that ball came loose. At first blush, it looked like it didn't come out until after he'd hit the ground. But maybe he lost possession before he hit the ground. Let's watch it. Ooh, the ball gets poked out at the last minute. Where were his knees? Lacy hits it. Ooh, it looks to me like his knee might have been on the ground before that ball gets knocked loose. It is awfully close.
And the challenge flag is on the field.
You have to challenge
from the Baltimore sideline.
Oh, you have to.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down by contact.
So instead of what could have been a disastrous turnover deep in their own territory, Baltimore from their own 21. Ray Rice squirms for about 3 or 4. Be aware, the Colts will bring a fierce outside pass rush, lots of pressure on third-year tackle Jarrett Gaither and rookie tackle Michael Orr. Ray Rice, a weapon at running back, averaging more than 123 yards a game from scrimmage. And Todd Heap starts at tight end despite a rib injury. On 2nd and 8, Rice again. Very little as we check the Indy defense. The Colts front 4 led by sack specialists on the outside. Robert Mathis has 8.5 sacks. Dwight Freeney 9.5. The linebackers, Philip Wheeler, Gary Brackett in the middle, and Clint Session in the secondary. Antoine Bethea has been terrific, and injuries have pressed 3rd-round draft pick Gerard Powers into service at cornerback. Third and 6. Flacco throwing far side. That is complete to Kelly Washington and enough for a first down. On first down, Flacco. Out here to Rice. And Rice forced out across the 35-yard line to about the 37. There's the give to Rice up the middle. Across the 40 to about the 42, and it'll leave about a yard to go for a first down.
Of course, Michael Orr, the movie about his adolescent years and on to the University of Mississippi in a movie that opened up around the country. Talk about a distraction. You know, football coaches hate that word.
How are ticket sales going?
That can't be easy.
LaRon McClain looking for the first down and gets it to the 45-yard line. 3-yard pickup on the play. It'll be first down Baltimore. Willis McGahee into the lineup now. Flacco throwing near side of the field, and that is complete to the 45 of the Indianapolis Colts to Derek Mason. And another first down. First down, Baltimore. The give is to McGahee. And McGahee wrapped up at about the 41.
Hey, quit, Wayne! Let the throw,
2nd and 6. Flacco, pump fake. Now throws short. And that's complete to McGahee. And McGahee inside the 35 and enough for another first down.
Well, excellent job there by Willis McGahee of making somebody miss. This wasn't going anywhere. He catches it right about the line of scrimmage. But that's a nice job of staying alive, getting away from Gary Brackett. Freeney goes to the inside and gets run right into the pile by Gaither, who then is smart enough to come off and pick up the looping tackle coming around. Nice work by Jared Gaither.
On the draw, Rice tripped up as he crossed the 30 to about the 27-yard line. Gary Brackett makes the stop. Flacco now looking at a 3rd and 4. 12th play of this drive. Flacco throwing, overthrows the intended receiver Mason.
And that was another typical 3rd down situation for Indianapolis, where they are so comfortable only rushing 4 people, dropping the remaining 7 back into coverage. Such a luxury to play pass defense with 7 people when you can get a consistent pass rush. Nice job by Jennings underneath, safety over the top.
And onto the field now, Billy Cundiff, the newly signed Billy Cundiff, to replace Steve Hauschka, who just missed one too many field goals for Coach Harbaugh's liking. Missed from 46 yards out. Just inside that upright. Cundiff off on the good foot.
Nice drive. Now listen to me. That intensity's got to be greater than theirs the next series. The only thing that matters is the next play, right?
First down, Colts, their own 24. The Ravens faithful, cheering on their defense. Play fake, Manning throws, popped up into the air and intercepted. Picked off by Juan Landry. And the turnover goes to the Ravens.
The zone play where corner just kind of falls off in cover 2 and makes the play. As soon as I threw it, kind of felt like it was about to be intercepted.
Fabian pretty much just made the play. I was just in the right place at the right time.
Now, first of all, after the play action, Peyton enjoys really, really good protection. But he had to float it over, and you can see that Washington was standing right in front of it. He comes in, it really hits him much more than Dallas Clark, and it doesn't get a whole lot easier for Juan Landry than to just wait for it to come back down. Peyton was very aggressive trying to jam that in and paid for it.
Now Flacco and company at the Indy 29. Ray Rice left side for a couple to about the 26. Flacco to throw. Has time. Throwing. End zone. Incomplete. Melvin Bullock coming over to knock the pass down.
And Melvin Bullock should have intercepted it. Joe Flacco, I don't think, knew that Bullock was going to be coming in from his left. He's looking at the coverage by Lacey, but coming in from the left is going to be Bullock. And he got both hands on that football. You're allowed to catch it.
3rd and 7. Far side of the field and batted away once again. Tim Jennings making the play on Derek Mason. So here's Cundiff once again. This one from 44 yards out. He made one a few moments ago from 46. Kick on its way. Looks good. Billy Cundiff, welcome to Baltimore.
The Ravens pull within 1, but the Colts show off their other tight end.
Caught by Santee again, 45, 50.
When NFL replay continues.
Take that wheel away, baby!
So Manning and the Colts will start from their own 11. Ray Lewis from the other side. A dive across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Second and 3. Manning will throw for a quick pop. That is complete to the far side. Tom Santee, the tight end. Manning fakes the handoff, throws over the middle, has his man across the 40. Midfield is Santee again, and Tom Santee getting into the swing of things in a hurry here in Baltimore.
He got his feet wet, and you know, it looks like he hung in there pretty well. He caught the ball nicely, and I think he blocked fairly well. His pass protection, I think, he was challenged out there with some outstanding pass rushers, but overall, I think he did a pretty good job.
You know, he's playing the position that Dallas plays a lot, and what they were doing was when Dallas was in the slot, you know, for the majority of the game, they were putting the defensive back on him that left the linebacker on Santee, and he does give you a little bit of, you know, I think mismatch problems.
Now from the Baltimore 47. A dive. Maybe 2. Third and 7. Manning with time, near side of the field. That is complete to a dive.
Ooh, I don't think he got there.
And it is ruled incomplete or out of bounds. Let's see. Complete out of bounds, and did he make it to the first down marker?
Boy, if at first glance I thought he was a little short. Let's.
Just a touch short.
Yeah, it is short.
And they will go for it.
Not even close enough for a measurement.
Joseph a dive behind Manning. On 4th and not much. A dive has the first down to the 35.
Boy, Haloti Ngata got penetration and got tackled.
And we have a penalty marker down.
He got tackled.
Holding. Number 63. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 4th down.
That's on the center, Jeff Saturday, the 3-time Pro Bowler.
Well, I'm a long ways away, and it was pretty obvious to me. Watch Ngata come slicing through, and right there, Jeff Saturday just grabs both his ankles, and that is a fine open field tackle by Jeff Saturday there.
So to say, on the positive side, that's a great tackle.
Good form.
Donald Brown in the game, in the background. The fake to him. Manning throws on the slant, and that's complete to Pierre Garçon. Manning throwing. Oh, diving catch made just short of midfield by Austin Collie, the rookie out of BYU.
Well, we talked about Joe Flacco and his arm strength. It's time for Peyton Manning to demonstrate. Flacco's not the only guy here that can toss one out outside the numbers with a little velocity to it. Working against Dominique Foxworth. Foxworth complaining that he pushed off. Nothing even close to a push off. And that was the 6th different receiver that's caught a Peyton Manning ball today.
First down just shy of midfield. And Manning going to give this to Donald Brown, who tries to turn the corner and does on the right side and out of bounds short of the 40-yard line. Second and 4. Manning short drop, short pass. Right at the first down marker is Santee. And with that, Peyton Manning goes over the 3,000-yard mark for the 12th consecutive year. He has 9 years of 4,000 plus. Play clock down to 3. Manning will give it to Brown, and Brown, diving for the first down, appears to have it at the 40. Peyton now first down at the Baltimore 40. Play fake to Brown. Manning looking, and got rid of it. And Ray Lewis looked just fine chasing him down there. Manning, pump fake, going deep for Wayne, intercepted inside the 10-yard line by Ed Reed. Back to the 30, to the 40, across the 45-yard line.
You know, had the corner beat and just, you know, I kind of stared the corner down in order to get Reggie to run by him, and that part of the plan worked. But you know, every time you stare him down, it brings the potential of Ed Reed coming over. So you like to have those back.
See, look, you can't look off a safety if you're going to do a pump fake. It's impossible. How are you going to fake the corner if you're looking someplace else? So those eyes took Ed Reed from center field all the way over to the right field line to make that pick.
Ed Reed gets the ball back for Baltimore.
And it's intercepted. Ed Reed has it.
More NFL replay after this.
If we don't knock him off the ball in short yards, we ain't winning this game. You get all you want. It's your job to win this game in the offensive line. All right? That's what it's all about. It ain't about me yelling at anybody. Get a foot in the ground, get in front of them, and block their ass like we said, and we will win this game.
Flacco running out of time, dumps it off to McClain. McClain across midfield. That's Ray Rice looking for the first down and appears to have it at the Indianapolis 42. Ray Rice. Rice to the 36. Rice running room inside the 25 and another Baltimore first down. Antoine Bethea making the tackle.
How about the look on Joe Flacco's face? He does the handoff and then carries out his fake, and then all of a sudden finds himself as the lead blocker. What am I? I think Joe decided, I don't believe I'll finish this off and go down and try to throw a block.
Ravens looking for their first red zone trip of the day. And Rice to about the 20.
Boy, Gary Brackett, he moved it on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He really knifed in there. That's the way a middle linebacker does it. There he is right there in the middle. Look at him. He picks his crease and then comes right in and just takes the legs out from Ray Rice. That's called scraping right off and then coming back in, get your hips and shoulders upfield. Drop the ball carrier.
And now here is a big 3rd and 7 for Baltimore. Under pressure, over the middle, incomplete.
Boy, now that is a different look by the Colts, who used to, in years gone by when Tony Dungy was the head coach, rarely blitzed. That time, that looked like the Ravens. Look at all the guys coming. Look at this. That is a 7-man blitz. That is something you rarely ever used to see from the Colts. Just one of the subtle differences between the 09 version and years past.
Here's another subtle difference. The Billy Cundiff offense here in Baltimore.
Yes, it's been in play now for what? A quarter and a half.
He's been good from 46 and 44. This is from 38 yards out, and it is good. For the first time today, the Baltimore Ravens have the lead. Once again, the very vocal Baltimore crowd. There's Ed Reed. And Manning will start things off with a give to a die who tries the left side. 5 yards, 10, and more. Run out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and it's a first down. Run out by Dewan Landry.
And another good block at the point of attack by Tom Santee, the tight end. There he is, number 86 right there. He gets into Trevor Price and, you know, locks him up and long enough that Adies are able to get around the corner.
You know, it's a theme that both Jim Caldwell and Peyton Manning were bringing up, how the depth has improved. You figure a team is weakened by injuries, they see it as opportunity.
They see a real strength of this team. They're young players.
Manning with time, throwing over the middle, pulled in by Tom Santee.
Well, we watched Dallas Clark catch a touchdown pass where he passed John Mackey, but now it's Tom Santee who's acting like John Mackey. What a first half this guy is having. Big guy, 6'3", 250, but he's blocked. He's shown soft hands, elevation. Look at that.
Acting an awful lot like Santa Claus as we approach December.
Oh, I'd be embarrassed if I said that.
Thank you very much. First down.
That was Greg Gumbel, not me.
Joseph Adai, right side, turns the corner and out of bounds short of the 30-yard line. Big 3rd and 5. Manning, sideline. Reggie Wayne made the catch inside the 20-yard line, and it'll be a first down.
Boy, that is just one-on-one. Reggie Wayne and Dominique Foxworth. And look at the perfect pass, the toe drag by Reggie Wayne. Look at that. Look at him drag that. That's just beautiful. Everybody sees his right foot
and
stepping.
John Harbaugh just threw the challenge flag.
Well, it looked to me like he had established the right foot by dragging it well before it ever went up.
I think what the fans are reacting to is that foot stepping on the sideline, but I thought, you're right, Dan, I thought he dragged his foot before that.
I thought he had possession and established the right foot before that. There's possession. He's dragging his right foot. It then comes up and goes out of bounds.
Baltimore's decided not to challenge the previous play.
And I think that may have come to John Harbaugh from upstairs.
Yes, and he got some good advice, because that is a completed. So you take a look at, even though there's the ball, he's got possession, he's dragging it, his left is down. That was a smart move by Harbaugh, picking up that challenge.
Reggie Wayne's right foot is digging a trough on the field.
You know, that's one of the beautiful things about this turf now. It kicks up a little spray. You can really see it when a guy is dragging the toe.
Indy and Baltimore. Indy with 1 timeout remaining. Baltimore has 2. Here's a dive to about the 12.5. And with that, we get the 2-minute warning. Second and 5 for Manning and the Colts. He needs the 8-yard line for a first down. Pass to the far side. That is complete to Garcon. And Garcon fighting his way. First and goal. Adai dancing to the goal line, touchdown.
Well, that was really a fine piece of work by the Colts offensive line. They did a good job of getting out in front of the last play, the bubble screen that picked up the first down, and then this time just straight away blocking. And John Harbaugh a little distressed that his big guys got moved out of the way that easily.
A tough team, tough team, so you can't leave anything out there on the field. So when you're out there on the goal line, you got to try to get it in. So that was my mindset.
Ray Lewis is unblocked, and Joseph Adai does a little hip swivel, and Ray Lewis doesn't touch him. Boy, folks, you don't see this very often. Squared up, and Ray Lewis gets fingertips on Joseph Adai, and that's it.
The Colts punch one in.
Goes up the middle, dive, touchdown! Joseph Adai. The Colts reclaim the lead.
It's Ravens ball when NFL replay returns.
Flacco pulls it down and then incomplete. Ray Rice, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10. 1:14 on the clock.
I think we might see a running play right here. If they're going to throw it again, they better think about completing it.
Flacco backing up, throwing, far side of the field. Here's Todd Heap, and he's out of bounds across the 30-yard line. On 3rd and 6, Flacco throwing far side of the field, and that is complete. Baltimore, remember, with 2 timeouts. Flacco for Rice. Rice across the 45 to the 47. On 2nd and 4 now, over the middle, and it's complete inside the 35-yard line to Mason again.
Well, that is a real strike by Joe Flacco. Boy, what a beautiful pass.
And they stop the clock right away at 29 seconds.
And they are inside of the range for Billy Cundiff. And again, working against this cover 2 of the Colts. The safety was playing way deep. And Jacob Lacey, the corner, giving some ground. You know, he's playing a little off, but he got there just as the ball arrived. He just didn't arrive with a big hit.
First down. Flacco pump fake. Looks back this way. Rice with running room. 25, 20 to about the 17-yard line. Gary Brackett makes the stop. Baltimore has no timeouts remaining, and the clock continues to move. 15 seconds and counting. And spiking the ball is Flacco to stop the clock at 12.
Well, on that last play, Joe Flacco had such great pass protection that the Indianapolis zone kept dropping deeper and deeper as time went by, and just more and more separation from Ray Rice, who was just standing there. He's got to run 5 yards before an Indianapolis player even comes into frame.
We started today talking about what tremendous pressure was going to be on that Baltimore offensive line. They've done a terrific job today.
We'll give them credit on that one.
2nd and 10. Flacco now under pressure and got rid of it. Raheem Brock coming in from the near side.
And with 7 seconds left, not time for another play. Here comes Cundiff.
This will be from 36 yards out. Cundiff. Got another one.
He flirts with that right upright, doesn't he?
Billy Cundiff doesn't want you to be too sure of it right off the bat, but he's 4 for 4 and keeping the Ravens within striking distance.
Quarter number 2 ends with the unbeaten Colts up by 2. More hits to come in the second half.
Big helicopter hit by Ray Lewis.
When NFL replay continues. After 2 quarters, Caldwell's Colts are up 14-12. Peyton Manning has thrown 1 record-setting touchdown to Dallas Clark, but 2 interceptions to DeJuan Landry and the dangerous Ed Reed. Joseph Adai scored on a 5-yard run, while Tom Santi emerged as a receiving threat. For the Ravens, Joe Flacco is 11 of 19 for 90 yards with no interceptions, but no touchdowns either. Ray Rice has 45 on the ground and another 28 through the air, while Ravens newcomer Billy Cundiff is a perfect 4 for 4 on field goals. Let's go back to Baltimore for the second half.
So Manning and the Colts will start from their own 33. A dive. Behind the block by the first-year guard, Kyle DeVan. On 2nd and 7, Manning throwing for Santee, and he's got it. Just short of midfield, the first down.
Keep in mind, everybody, Tom Santee did not have a reception coming into this game. So needless to say, Baltimore didn't spend a whole lot of time worrying about Santee being the go-to guy for Peyton Manning.
Manning to throw. Wide open is Reggie Wayne inside the 30, and another Colt first down. A dive to the 20. That duo, Peyton Manning, or rather of Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark. First 10 games of a season, that's the best ever.
Look at who's in second place there. One of the ties, Johnny Morris and Mike Ditka back in '64. That was hardly the golden age of passing.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment back then.
It's the year after the Bears won an NFL championship.
That's when you ran the ball 3/4 of the time.
Manning, quick slant, diving catch made by Garcon. Indy's had 2 red zone trips today. They've scored 2 touchdowns. Manning gives it to Brown, shakes a tackle. Ducks inside the 10. Dominique Foxworth coming up from the corner to make the stop. Pickup of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7. Quick throw, quick pass, inside the 5. Close ball, picked up by the Ravens. That's another Colt turnover.
And that's Santee, and he is still down, and did he get hit? Boy, he got hit from one side, and then he got the second one from the other direction, and I think that's the one that knocked the ball loose.
Dwan Edwards with the recovery.
There's the first hit by Ed Reed, and then was that Ray?
It was.
That's Ray Lewis.
Will a red zone fumble cost the Colts?
He fumbles it, and the Ravens recovered.
Ravens ball when NFL replay continues.
Welcome back, everyone. Tom Santee, the victim of a big, big hit. First by Ed Reed and then by Ray Lewis. And the ball goes over to the Ravens. And LaRon McClain carries across the 5 to the 7. Flacco to throw out of his own end zone, coming deep down the near sideline. It is. They fight for the football just the other side of midfield, and it's pulled in by Derek Mason.
Well, Derek Mason playing a lot bigger than 5'10", going up for that football. And what a play with Joe Flacco throwing it out of his own end zone. I mean, that's really good coverage. Powers and Mason, you can't be locked up any more than that. If it's simultaneous possession, it belongs to the offensive receiver.
45-yard pickup. First down, Baltimore at the Indy 48. This is McGahee. McGahee inside the 40, inside the 35, and a loose ball.
Lacey ripped that ball loose.
Chasing down on the far side. Who's got it?
Remember, that's got to be recovered inbounds if it's going to stay with the Colts, because the possession belonged to Baltimore.
First indication from referee John Perry is that it belongs to Baltimore.
We got people pointing all over the place. Remember, this is Baltimore's ball unless someone from Indianapolis gets clear possession in the field of play. Lacey ripped it away, no doubt of that.
The ruling on the field is a fumble. However, the ball was recovered out of bounds. It will remain Baltimore's ball, second down.
And that was Perry's initial reaction. Here's a look.
Yeah, this is Jacob Lacey ripping the ball away. Well, now in that look, McGahee's knee might have been down.
Baltimore is challenging the previous play that the runner was down by contact prior to the fumble. We'll review the play. The player was down by contact prior to the fumble. Therefore, it will be 1st and 10 for Baltimore on the 32.5-yard line.
Kelly Washington in motion. The give is to Rice on the right side. Rice inside the 20. And a first down. Flacco throwing far side of the field, has his man, and that's complete to Mark Clayton.
Well, there's how you go up, elevate, and just snatch the ball out of the air with your hands.
And make your first catch of the day.
Yes, that's Clayton on the outside. You can see that when he makes his plant, the ball is already in the air. Flacco throws it away from the defender to the outside, and Mark Clayton makes a really, really good adjustment to it.
LaRon McClain in the backfield. 3rd and short yardage. McClain not going to get it.
Are we going to see another Baltimore field goal?
You betcha.
The Indianapolis Colts have turned the football over 3 different times. The Ravens have not turned the ball over at all. And the Colts are looking at only being 1 point down.
Now, the Colts kicker, Matt Stover, used to play here in Baltimore. And 4 times he kicked 5 field goals in a game. Cundiff is going for his 5th of the day from 30 yards out. The kick is up, and he pushed that one wide.
I think the combination of the snap being a little bit high and him being a little bit fast, forced him to you got out in front of the ball and had to try to pull it back and couldn't pull it back enough. So, he needs to slow down. He should be able to make that with a high snap like that, but we want the snap down there too.
The closest field goal I had all day, so you'd think that I should have just I should have made it.
We all wanted to score there. We all know that. Hey, that's a heck of a drive. You got me? That's a heck of a drive for all of us.
Billy Cundiff perfect no more, and the Ravens remain down by 2. More NFL replay after this.
We began this day talking about these guys and the pressure they put on quarterbacks. Not today. No tackles, no sacks between Mathis and Freeney, who have combined for 18 sacks this season. Flacco. For Rice. Across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. Flacco going to throw it here and got his man Todd Heap across the 45 to the 46 and a first down. If there's ever any question as to whether Todd Heap is on the receiving end here in Baltimore, the fans let you know. Play fake. Flacco. Oh, wide open and in and out of the hands of Derek Mason.
Oh boy, a guy with over 800 career receptions. He might have been too open. You don't get a guy this open normally against this disciplined Indianapolis secondary, but Derek Mason, gee whiz, that thing is just right there. Yeah, he sees Lacey coming right at him, but still, guy's been around too long to let that be a factor.
2nd and 10. Flacco steps up, throws, 40-yard line. That's complete to Derek Mason. And Mason comes back and makes the catch for the first down.
Well, did you hear that ball hit his pads? Listen to this ball hit Mason's shoulder pads.
Second and 7. Flacco. Look out, Joe. Tackled out of bounds by Tim Jennings. So now it's a 3rd and 4. Flacco, quick pass, and that is inside the 30-yard line to the 29, and a first down complete to L.J. Smith. And for the 7th straight game, Ray Rice is over 100 yards from scrimmage. He lines up behind Flacco.
That's why he's their leading receiver as well as rushing.
Pump fake. Flacco throws outside, caught on the far side of the field by Derek Mason. Nice little footwork at the 15-yard line.
He shot Jacob Lacey off into space. The rookie corner out there. Watch this move by Mason. Oh, he gets him to bite on the post. And Lacey runs clear. He runs clear back into the end zone. Nice job with the feet by Mason. But the pump first by Flacco, but Lacey, boy, did he bite on that inside move by Derek Mason.
Robert Mathis looks like he might have gotten away with a hit to the helmet there as Rice pulls his way inside the 15 to about the 13. On 2nd and 8, Flacco throws far side, complete. Mason out of bounds just short of the goal line at the 1. What a bullet thrown by Joe Flacco.
I'm telling you, Joe Flacco, he throws a sideline pass. He throws an out as good or better than, look, I mean, just look at the outside shoulder, throwing it away from the defender, Lacey, who had inside position. Man, what an arm this guy's got.
1st and goal, Flacco gonna keep it. And no touchdown signal. 2nd and goal.
Well, he gets right in there behind his center, Matt Burke. A lot of Pro Bowls, and then 2 huge guards in Chester and Grubbs. But Joe, talk about huge. At 6'6", close to 240, Joe Flacco, a big man.
2nd and goal. McGahee. What a play by Gary Brackett.
Well, we talked about how big Flacco is. Gary Brackett at 5'11", but watch him just flow, scrape, and then get upfield. And man, that's showing a little power there, Gary Brackett. Look at him put his hat right on Willis McGahee and drive him sideways and keep him out of the end zone.
3rd and goal. McGahee not going to get there.
All 11 guys. I mean, from the secondary down, that goal line stands was huge. And I can, name like 4 other examples during the game that was huge. I mean, I think we just all played together, never say die, man. And then we just went out there and played hard.
We got good penetration by the D-line. They kind of got guys double-teaming them, and the gap opened up, and I saw the light and just shot and made a play.
On a short yardage situation, that took way too much time. You don't run a delay in that situation. You want to get into the hole as quickly as possible.
Dan, we talk about the money head coaches get paid to make decisions. He's going for the field goal here, and that 20-yarder is good.
He had an opportunity at the 2, didn't make the best of it, came out with a field goal. But, we got to get to a point where we get tired of stuff like that.
The Colts make a stand.
Again to McGay, and he didn't go again. He lost another yard.
But Cundiff connects for the lead. Indy's ball when NFL replay returns.
Certainly one of the best things the Ravens have done all day today is not turn the ball over, Dan.
Yep, take a look at that. No team has won yet this year. -3 or more, that's right where the Colts sit. -3.
Now let's see how the defense can stand up to Peyton Manning. Reggie Wayne. Wayne eludes one tackler, diving forward and has a first down. On 2nd and 10, Manning throws over the middle, has his man. Pierre Garçon inside the 45 and a first down.
Well, Garçon's working against Fabian Washington, and Washington gives him a lot of room underneath. He's not going to let anything get behind him. And look how soft that was in that bubble. And Garçon, the second-year guy, he found it. He's playing with a bad ankle.
Now, we talked to Reggie Wayne. Said, what's the big difference with Jim Caldwell in charge? He says he wants to make sure you're fresh when the fourth quarter of the game comes around.
He was pretty good about resting guys, asking them how they feel, if they need a break, need a little time off.
Garçon, 5 catches, 102 yards. On the reverse, Garçon, looking for running room, got tied up with his own blockers.
Well, for an offense that bases its entire existence on precision, that one looked a little
After the play, personal foul. Number 92, defense. Unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
This is on Haloti Ngata, and this is a costly one.
Oh, you can say that. Garçon is on the ground, and in comes Haloti Ngata with his elbow and forearm right into the kidney of Pierre Garçon.
All 345 pounds of him.
And Garçon is lucky. You know, that's you know, the old Roadrunner cartoon where at the end of that you're only about 3 inches wide. You know, you've been compressed. Now the crowd can boo, but that's a penalty. That should have been called and was.
Manning. Reggie Wayne again. 25, 20, 15. Inside the 10, it'll be first and goal for the Colts.
And did you see Reggie Wayne cover up the football at the end of that play when he knew the Baltimore Ravens were starting to converge? What a great play by Wayne. This is only about a 3-yard pass. And here comes Peyton in a hurry. Again, he forced the Ravens to scramble off the field. He's a little devilish in that regard, isn't he?
Wayne and Dallas Clark to the near side. Quick pass to Wayne. Pushed out of bounds at about the 7. Dominique Foxworth. Can the Ravens make another big defensive stand? 3rd and goal. Manning looks left, incomplete. Through the hands of Wayne inside the 5.
Well, the Ravens only came with a 3-man rush, and when you're backed up to your goal line like that and you drop 8 guys back into coverage, man, things get awfully congested back there. It's hard to find a guy open because of all the defenders that are in your way. You saw 3 guys from Baltimore around Reggie Wayne.
Here's the ex-Baltimore Raven, Matt Stover, his first field goal attempt of the day from 25 yards out, and it's perfect.
You know what to do. You know what the winds are going to do, the field, all that kind of stuff. So there was no newness to it. It was just a matter of going out there in the blue and white today and kicking it.
Former Raven Matt Stover puts the Colts up by 2, but Baltimore moves the ball.
Colt territory, 45, coming near sideline, 40, stiff arms a man.
When NFL replay continues.
to Rice. Rice still on his feet, inside or across the 40 rather, to the 42 and very close to a first down. Flacco for Rice. Rice, midfield. Still on his feet, inside the 40 to the 35 of the Colts.
Well, you don't need to explain to Ray Rice the urgency of this game. I think he gets it.
22-yard pickup.
Boy, a quarterback's best friend, to dump it off right at the line of scrimmage and then have a guy do this. That is some effort, and just that's talent, folks. Look at this, going laterally, cutting back against the grain. You can see the Colts just going by the other direction, not expecting it.
Flacco near sideline, diving attempt incomplete. Derek Mason.
Well, up until this point, as we now come to a 3rd and long, Joe Flacco has enjoyed pretty good pass protection. And this is a passing situation where a lot of times the Colts pass rush determines the outcome of this play. And Gaither and Orr, the 2 tackles, have had really good games.
Mathis and Freeney on the end.
They're both there.
Pump fake, throw, sideline, Mason, first down, out of bounds at about the 17. And another rifle shot from Joe Flacco.
Well, that time Todd Heap stayed in to help out on Dwight Freeney's side. See him there on the right side of your screen. That's Heap that originally gets Freeney, and then he runs right into Gaither. But again, I'm telling you, this good pass protection for Flacco, and he's been delivering some strikes.
First down at the Colts 17. Quick slant to about the 11 or the 12. Derek Mason covered by Jennings. Clock continues to move. 4 minutes to play in regulation. 2nd and 5. The give is to Rice. And the Colt defense looks like it's had just about enough of number 27. Robert Mathis and Gerard Powers combining for the stop. 3rd and 7. And Flacco needs the 7-yard line for a first down.
Oh, there's a false start.
Pass over the middle, intercepted. Gary Brackett.
Gary Brackett just did a great job of reading that, and you know, the front 4, we put some pressure on him, and Gary just made a great job of making the play.
You know, I saw everybody mugged up at the line, and I didn't really think the guy that ended up intercepting it was going to drop out the way he did, but it was a bad job by me. I kind of rushed to get the ball snapped and just made a bad decision.
We saw that play a little earlier in the game when they kind of featured Ray Rice coming out the backfield. So it's something that you were just conscious of, putting in the back of your head. You know, knew that they would come back to that in the same situation.
But we were certainly getting ready for 2 minutes to go down, needing a field goal to win or potentially a touchdown to win. And his interception was absolutely critical.
Brackett could not have picked a better time for his first interception of the year. And now Manning with the ball at his own 21-yard line and 2:42 on the clock. A dive. Out of bounds.
Well, here's one more look at the interception. Joe Flacco, he sees Ray Rice coming from his right to his left. He does not see Gary Brackett coming from the left to the right. And oh, imagine the frustration.
Meanwhile, Fabian Washington down on the far sideline for Baltimore. And in some pain.
Oh, and this is a real shame for Fabian Washington. 5 years with 3 years with Oakland, rather. His second year here in Baltimore, he was originally a first-rounder for the Raiders, and man alive, he's
can't put any weight on that at all.
That's not a good sign.
2:35 to play. And the Ravens could use another one of those turnovers. Manning throw. That's complete, and a big hit by Ray Lewis on Pierre Garçon.
And Pierre Garçon doesn't even flinch. He bounces right up, and oh no, let's not bark at Ray Lewis, Pierre. Let's we got to chat. Wow, that's a big hit. And this young man from Mount Union College in Ohio jumps right up.
3rd and 1. Joseph Adai behind Manning.
Everybody close to the line anticipating a run.
Manning, keep it, throw it, complete. First down, Reggie Wayne.
Oh, that's going to be close.
Timeout called for quickly by Baltimore.
Boy, where are they exactly spotting this ball?
First.
Dallas Clark. Well, I'll spot it. Yeah, let me help out. Get that thing stretched tight, and it is a first down by a couple.
We will review the spot to ensure it's a first down.
It was a do-or-die play. You know, those guys, they seem like they bring everybody, you know, and they know we were running it because we kind of want to keep the clock going. And they threw like probably an inch-yard pass to me, you know, so I knew what the first down marker was. I just didn't know what the defender was, so just try my best to get it.
After reviewing the play has been confirmed. It is a 1st and 10 for Indianapolis. Baltimore called a timeout prior to the challenge, and they will be charged their 3rd and final timeout with this challenge. They are out of challenges, out of timeouts.
I was trying to flip the timeout to a challenge, and they wouldn't let me do it. They were right not letting me do it. I tried to get I tried to get too much done there in that situation.
The 3rd and 1 play couldn't have been any closer, I guess, and that was the idea, just to get enough to make them have the challenge and use 2 timeouts. That was kind of the line of thinking there.
So now on 1st and 15, Adai. Back to about the 30, and we're going to come up on 2 minutes to play before Peyton Manning calls for another snap. Adai, right side, cutting it back, and brought down at about the 27 by Haloti Ngata. Adai across the 30 to the 31, and it'll be about 4th and 10. Ed Reed has 13 career touchdowns.
Now it's
one of them a punt return.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's good news and bad news. You use up valuable seconds on a punt return while a guy's running the ball, and you don't, you know, but still, he is a playmaking son of a gun.
McAfee's kick, not a good one, but it'll take a good bounce, and Reed on the run. Tried to flip it forward, and looks like he lost it. Freddie Keaho looked to cover it for Indianapolis.
It looked like it went right to him, and what I know Ed Reed was trying to make something happen, but geez, that was a bad play. Now, was he down before he threw it?
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Indianapolis.
It would be an automatic review.
1st and 10.
Yes. Let's see if Ed Reed might have been down. That's the only thing the Ravens can hope for.
His knee might have been down.
It might have been down. His right knee might have touched.
And I believe they will check this out.
The play stands as called on the field. 1st and 10, Indianapolis.
And Peyton Manning and the Colts 1 snap away from 10-0 on the season.
We pulled it off. Signs of a championship team. 10-0, let's go.
We didn't play our best, but nevertheless, we got that victory anyway, and that's what counts, right? That's what counts. And that's a tribute to you guys.
1, 2, 3.
Colts!